Welcome guys, back with another video. Been off for a while, concentrating on other things. The sun's been out and I was feeling like making something tech housey, and I'm going to run you through exactly how I made this. If you would like me to build this into a full track and do a tutorial, post below. Okay, so we're going to listen to a section of the track up to the drop. So maybe we'll listen to from around about here. There is some noise in the background through the processing that's on. Please don't take offense to.
Work my body.
You get the idea, guys. Let me turn down the volume. So quite a funky track, good vibe to it. Very much a summery tech house type track, whatever you want to call it. Reminds me of the old Jack and House days somewhat as well. So I'm going to turn this back up. You have to deal with that noise in the background. I'm going to break down how this is made. Okay. We're going to keep this tutorial pretty short. If you do want me to spend a bit more time and build this track out, you might get benefit from that. Just leave me a comment below, I'll do that. So, up first we have the kick and bass, which is consisting of a kick, 909 kick, shortened, running some drive through the OSR type filter. And then we're using two basses in a call and response fashion. This is the first bass, so you can hear this here. Quite a lot of swing driven through the whole of the track. We're using Swing Notator 16. So that's the first bass sample. It's just a bass sample from a library. The second part of the bass is made up of this intersecting swinging or skipping bass. So it comes in and intersects the other bass, and this is just a sample that I found off of Splice. This has been transposed up an octave so that it's in a different frequency range and it doesn't kind of clash with the other bass. So let's have a listen to this. Okay, if you play those basses together, this is what you get. So you can hear that skipping bass come in, and it really complements the groove and creates a lot of flow and momentum in the track. It's a great way of building out bass lines for more interest and groove in your track. Okay, in terms of processing, I won't spend too much time on that in this video. If you want me to build this out, I can do that, but we're cutting below 50 Hz, taking out a resonant peak here at 120 and then boosting the top. On this bass we have got similar kind of EQ, sharper EQ, 48 dB per octave cut, and we're boosting a nice harmonic through at 110. Okay, we've mixed that together with our kick. Kick's got some EQ here, ducking out 210 Hz. And we've also got this kick punch preset on. Just seemed to work. Running through the kick and bass mix bus here. So quite a lot of processing going on. Again, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. We're using an API emulation compression just to duck a couple of dB, and we're also, to get that gain up, we're throwing the output up quite high, not standard practice. We're then running into the black box, just adding a little bit of saturation and air. Then into an EQ, we're doing dynamic EQing here, boosting the top end around 400 Hz. We've got a low shelf dynamically attenuating 70 Hz, and the kind of nasal horn sound. We're getting rid of that as well. To control and attenuate the low end further, we've got a little bit of attenuation and compression on the low end below 70 Hz. And then we're using this retro style plugin to add some vintage sampler off the top. Okay. So, sounding not bad. Quite gritty, which is what I quite like. That noise in the background is quite annoying. I think it's coming from one of these emulation type plugins, I'm not sure. So that's the kick and bass in. We've got some percussion going through the drum bus here, so DMX core kit. We've got a really nice grooving pattern. Really simple. A little bit of EQ on there, nothing major. Then every so often we're coming in with the open hat, just a 909, shifted down 5 semitones. We've got the Impulse 606 shaker and hi-hat. We're using the time function here to shorten it. We've got it down 16 semitones, just to add a little bit of kind of thickness to the sound. So that comes in every so often. Sounds really gritty, which I really like. If you combine all the drums together, this is what we've got. In terms of processing, I'll turn everything off. So we're using the vertical channel strip to clean up the mix and also add a bit of distortion, essentially. So running it through a high pass, cutting below 500 Hz. The compressor isn't doing anything, the EQ isn't really doing anything either. Then we're using the tube saturator on high mid, just to add a little bit of drive, to add a bit of warmth. We're then sending it to the Pro MB, just a little bit of harsh upper control, because there are a lot of kind of gritty frequencies, but I quite like that. And then a little bit more tidy up on the higher frequencies. Okay, this is just a preset I used for this. Okay. We're using a Rhodes Chord stab, just an audio sample. Sounds really cool. Turn off all the processing. Sounds really good. Really great sample. We're using overdrive. We're using some reverb from Dada Life, Space in Your Face. Taking off the low end, and then we've got a really sharp resonant peak here. Getting rid of that. Next, we have the Vox bus. So we've got multiple different call and response oriented vocals that really bring this track alive. So let's just listen to them all together.
Work my body. Work my body. Work.
So these are all samples from Splice dropped in. They all have overdrive and delay on them, and that's all we're doing. We're just dropping them in a call and response pattern in amongst the other elements of the track to create flow and interest without overcrowding the track. Very typical in this type of music. You'll notice that one of the samples is down in pitch just to vary it, and one of the other samples is up quite high. So this one here.
Work my body.
And then we've got this one down here. And then we've got a lower one, a lower register sound. It's a male vocal. Really adds a lot. On the Vox channel, we've got some compression just to bring it all together. Standard 909 snare for the snare fill. In there. We've got another vocal sample here that comes in just before the drop, just add that extra climactic feel.
You know what I'm talking about.
Just with a little bit of glitch delay on. Next thing, really cool technique. So got a percussive sound that I liked, percussive loop, chopped it up into MIDI, and I've created my own grooving loop. Helps create that chugging, jacking motion. Bit of standard EQing here, working in the top end peaks and then cutting below 380 Hertz. And apart from that, it's all pretty standard stuff. We've got a couple of risers in here, and we've got a white noise downshifter. Really, really simple, really basic stuff. There's no real sound design. I mean, there is some sound design, but we're using more samples. And that's basically it. So let's just play through one last time. Very quick, short, punchy tutorial today. If you would like me to kind of build this out into a template and go into a little bit more detail, then I'm more than happy to do it. Hope you enjoy, guys. See you in the next one. Turn it back up.
Work my body. Work my body. Work my body. Work my body. Work my body.